quiet hills of Ooty to the highest courts of the country and abroad. We today joined for the very first time by a senior advocate who's known for his meticulous preparation and his relentless pursuit of justice. He's also known as the man who's leading India's charge for extradition in several cases, especially the 2611 case, and also successfully bringing back 2611 mastermind Tahawwur Rana back to India. We welcome on our show Senior Advocate Dayan Krishnan. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Rhythm.
The best thing is, sir's also invited us to this wonderful farm that's called Bagicha. It's on the outskirts of Delhi. So beautifully made, sir. First, what is the thought behind having this place almost like Ooty right here in Delhi?
See, the thing, Rhythm, is both. I'm from the hills, I'm from Ooty, as you know, and my wife is also a small town person. She grew up in Bhopal. So for us, we wanted to create an atmosphere where we grew up, a garden, trees, quiet,
Beautiful.
good clean air and things. So this is our weekend getaway as far as we can.
Right.
And we invest a lot of time now, because a lot of these trees were there when we got the place. But we invest a lot of time in horticulture, we invest a lot of time in agriculture.
Okay.
And, for us, it is our little space which we really enjoy.
I want to ask you a little bit about the trees and this beautiful place. But Mr. Krishnan, I want to first go across to your journey in Ooty. Your father was a lawyer in Ooty. Tell us about your early years there.
See, I'm sure you read many people saying that, they have a habit of reading and they read Enid Blytons as children.
That's right.
But I had an Enid Blyton life as a child.
Oh, lovely.
Rolling hills, beautiful little streams. All of us had dogs. Our neighbors had dogs. I mean, it was a quiet and beautiful life in one of the most beautiful places to stay when I grew up. Now, of course, like all hill stations, it's also got crowded, but it was very nice. I went to a lovely school where it was a town school where generally everyone from the town came and studied. It was called the Breeks Higher Secondary School. And my father was a very big public personality. He was not only a lawyer, but he was very involved in the activities of the town, very respected man. And my mom, I owe a lot to her in terms of what I am today. She always kept us grounded. She always ensured that she would always tell me the two things I want from my children are politeness and ethics. So,
Nice.
So I do owe a lot to my parents. They've been very fundamental in my growth. And the town of Ooty had a lot of wonderful memories for me. My school, the fact that we all played football, which is a game which, I wish I could still play. I've gotten a bit old. And the general cosmopolitan nature of that town. Being a tourist place, we had people from all over. We didn't have much interaction with the tourists, of course. But ethnically, we had people from Karnataka, from Kerala and Tamil Nadu in one place. So it was, many people ask me, why did you leave? But there's a story to that.
Please tell me why you left.
You see, I had joined the National Law School.
Yes, 1993, the first batch.
Yes. So 88, we joined.
Yes.
And, the concept of an internship started first there. And I was allotted, those days they would allot you, to Mr. Santosh Hegde.
Okay.
Sir was then had just demitted office at the Advocate General and was a senior advocate in Karnataka, and I was allotted to him because I couldn't go to any other big city because, I didn't have a place. Here I could stay in the hostel and attend.
Okay.
So I'd come home for about 10 days.
Right.
For a vacation before I went and joined the internship. And I was going somewhere with my dad and he said, son, make the best of these internships. So I said, sure. I was a 19-year-old cocky kid. Who said, yeah, I'll do it. So he said, Dayan, I'm telling you for a reason. So I said, what? He said, you're not coming back to Ooty. I was taken aback because in my mind, I thought, okay, I'll finish these 5 years of college and come back.
Right.
And Dad was a lawyer. I love Ooty. I could do my, bit. My friends were here. He said, no, you're not coming back. So I asked him why. He said, I cannot answer why, but you are not coming back. You have to make a life of your own, wherever you are, And these internships may help you secure something.
He knew destiny had more in store for his son.
Probably. But I was taken aback. I went and told my mother, who totally disagreed with him. But my dad was very clear in his mind that I will not come to Ooty. I will not work with him. And he said, you will be proud of yourself if you go and make a life on your own, which he had done.
Okay, okay.
So that's what brought me eventually to Delhi, because when I finished my 5 years,
Yes.
Mr. Headley had shifted here.
Yes.
He became the additional Solicitor General and then was in private practice here.
Yes.
And he was very kind to have me in his chamber, which was my most beautiful years of my professional life.
Right.
I learned everything which I had to learn from him.
Okay.
Ethics, the way you argue, the way you prepare, and most importantly, he was such a straightforward man that, he inculcated that in his juniors. So that's, and then, I was with him for 5.5 years.
Right.
Then he became a judge.
Yes.
And I went on my own journey then. And probably if he was still a lawyer, I would still be his junior.
That shows the respect you have for him. You think of him as a guru. Something that's also getting lost in today's field of, I would say, not only judiciary, but also in the legal world, where people want to quickly learn whatever they can, make a quick buck. So I want to ask you, 5 years you spent with him. After that, you started your own practice. How were those early years? You're a self-made person in the Delhi High Court.
The early years were very tough. Very, very tough.
Right.
There were weeks I had no work. There were weeks I would still go to office to ensure my discipline. I would go at 9 o'clock and come home at 7 o'clock. Just to tell myself, tomorrow will be a better day. Right. But things improved.
Right.
And the various people on the way help you and things like that. But, it is, you must have heard this cliche many times that, litigation is a marathon runner's game. But it's absolutely true. You wait, and things come your way.
So which were the first cases that impacted you, that was a turning point in your career, Mr. Krishnan?
Well, I think if you see, I was made an assisting amicus in a matter called Skipper Constructions.
Okay.
Mr. Joseph Vallapalli was the amicus, and he was kind enough to add me to that.
Right.
That made a lot of difference to me, gave me confidence, because many times he would say that I don't have the time, you go and argue it.
Right.
It gave me the confidence to argue, and it was a very interesting case, because the important thing is a large number of people were defrauded.
Right.
In Delhi.
Right.
And so that was an interesting case. There were various side commissions to that. The late Justice Arya was appointed as one commission to go into one portions of the fraud. I dealt with him and the commission. Then there was Justice Bari's commission, which so. And the other case, which of course happened when I was still in the chamber, was the Jain Commission of Inquiry.
Yes. This is the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case?
That's right.
Yes.
So in that case, that was about the conspiracy, etc., on the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case.
And the role of the Tamil Nadu government?
Tamil Nadu government, and we were appearing for the Tamil Nadu police.
Yes.
Mr. C.S. Vaidyanathan, very legendary senior advocate, was appearing for the Tamil Nadu government, and we were for the Tamil Nadu police. We meaning boss, and I was assisting him.
Yes.
There is where many times Mr. Headley had no time to come on a day-to-day basis, because he was a busy lawyer in the Supreme Court. I used to go and conduct a witness examination.
Right.
So that's where I sort of slowly honed my skills. Then there were other opportunities, the Wadhwa Commission,
Yes.
where in respect to the Graham Staines inquiry, which also gave me an opportunity. That was, there was Mr. Gopal Subramaniam and Mr. Justice Muralidhar, as he was then, were there, and I worked with them. And there also they were all busy lawyers, you see. So I had the opportunity to deal with a lot. And Justice Wadhwa was a very kind man, and he took a lot of effort to teach me how to do a trial, because he was in fact a very good trial lawyer before he moved to the High Court and things like that.
Right.
So
I want to ask you, in the two cases that you're speaking about, Jain Commission, what struck you? Did you feel the Tamil Nadu police was negligent? Because this is something that coincidentally just before your episode we shot with Mr. Vaidyanathan, who gave us a lovely anecdote about how J. Lalita was going to say that it was Karunanidhi who was to blame for the assassination, but he had told her that there was no evidence and she agreed and didn't speak about it. What did you feel? Was anyone negligent?
You see, according to my assessment of that case, the fundamental flaw there was they did not frisk everyone. See, when you see people walking into courts today, you see frisking is done. People underestimate the importance of it. She had pellets.
Yes.
Right? Now today, for example, in my High Court, the Delhi High Court where I practice, if I walk in as a senior counsel, nobody frisks me.
Yes.
I sometimes wonder why, you know, because whenever I see a security person not frisking me, I think about that case. All it required was frisking.
You were also a part of the case in which the 2001 Parliament attacks was looked at. What did you think about that case?
Well, I think, first of all, it was, again, you know, I have strong views on terrorism.
Yes.
I believe that terrorism is the most dangerous thing to the foundations of the Republic. I have seen this, I have studied terrorism very closely.
Right.
Not only in the Parliament attack case, of course, there I was a junior lawyer. And much later when I came to the 2611 cases, where I have studied terrorism very closely, both on a practical level as well as theoretical.
Right.
And I of course feel, of course it is a decision of the courts, the Supreme Court, the High Court and the Supreme Court. I feel some perpetrators got away. But, you know, we are lawyers and we of course.
How did you think the perpetrators, were they Indians or the
No, the Indians.
Pakistanis?
Indians.
Right.
I'm
the ones who collaborated with.
Yes. But I feel that the fault lay also with the police, who should have done a much better job in getting, you know, evidence, and that's why we lost. So I mean, anybody looking at the case would know that A and B and C were involved, but we couldn't get the prosecution through because I feel the state of the investigation could have been better.
You think the intelligence gathering was fine in 2611?
Certainly not. Otherwise, it wouldn't have led to this. But you know, the way 2611 was planned, how much ever intelligence you have, that kind of an incident could have happened.
Right.
Yeah, and because you see the way they came in boats to a fisherman, this thing, nobody could, and the decoy of Headley, who looked, behaved like an American, nobody could have even believed that this man was a part of the Lashkar-e-Taiba. You see, so
I wanted to ask you a lot about the David Coleman Headley case. I wanted to also ask you, you were the special public prosecutor for the NIA. In fact, I also want to tell our viewers, you were the first public prosecutor appointed by the NIA. You were part from 2010 of this case. And 15 years you've been studying the 2611 case. I think you must be the foremost authority on this case. What did you feel about his role? You also tried to interrogate him, were a part of the team that went to Chicago.
Yes. So, yes, I was the first special public prosecutor of the NIA, and that was courtesy Mr. Raju, who was the first DG of the NIA, very eminent officer from the Jammu Kashmir cadre. You see, Jammu Kashmir cadre officers are very deeply entrenched in the knowledge of terrorism. And Mr. Raju and his team, which were mainly from Jammu and Kashmir cadre, Mr. Swayam Prakash Pani and and Mr. Sanjeev Singh, of course, who was from Madhya Pradesh cadre, were one of the finest officers I have ever worked with. So when we were entrusted this case and I was entrusted this case, the first task, because everything was abroad, you see, the evidence was abroad. The perpetrators were basically abroad. The troops, except Kasab, who was caught, were abroad, right? And many of course, the troops, over these Lashkar troops were killed, except Kasab. Kasab, of course, was done by the Bombay police, and I think was a brilliant investigation and a very well conducted trial by Mr. Nikam, which led finally to a death penalty for this person. But there was much more to this case. And when we went to interrogate him, Headley, because he had plea bargained, gave us permission to interrogate him. Of course, there were also a lot of to and fro just before we started interrogation, but finally we did. We were a part
Please
of that.
tell us about the room and how you were, how many people were allowed.
No, there, of course, it's intricacies I cannot tell you, but the FBI officers, the NI officers, the FBI prosecutor and I were there, and Headley's own lawyers who were public defenders. But, well, if you ask me, the atmosphere in the room was an atmosphere of hate. He hated us and we hated him also, to be honest. I mean, there was no love lost there.
Right.
And what shocked me most was that this man, who was the cause, partly the cause, I mean there were various other people who were the cause, of this very heinous attack leading to death of so many innocent civilians, had absolutely no remorse. Absolutely nothing.
Even in prison?
Yeah, nothing at all.
Booked for 35 years?
No, nothing. That was my impression.
Right.
And that is an impression of a person who saw him.
That's right.
Right? So, see, that is why I am very worried about terrorism, and I always say that's the most dangerous thing for the Republic, and which attacks the foundations of the Republic, are this, that these people who commit such crimes are so brainwashed in their, foolish thoughts.
Yes.
That, these things have to be nipped at the bud.
And he was the son of a diplomat. He had stayed in America.
Yeah. He stayed in America.
Trained by Lashkar.
Of course he was trained by Lashkar. He had gone to each of the dwaras that Lashkar does. But finally Lashkar found him not good enough for, combat, but they used him for something more heinous. And he was a great cover. Yeah, so
David Coleman Headley's extradition was not possible because of the fact that he was giving cooperation, Mr. Krishnan, to the United States government. You tried at every level to try and also have him extradited.
Yes, I did.
In the future, is it possible that this could happen?
No, I don't think so. Because for reasons which the Bombay police know, they have led him as an approver in the Bombay case.
Right.
So after that, to bring him as a extradited fugitive is anyway ruled out.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the Bombay police needed to do what they did, because if you see their evidence, it was required. So it's not that I find fault with them. I actually appreciate what they did.
Right.
But keeping in mind the plea bargain, certainly, theoretically, we may be able to seek his extradition.
Right.
But practically, no.
Practically, no. Okay. So I'm going to ask Sir a lot more questions about the 2611 case, also the other cases. But first, I want to go on a lighter note to where we are. This is the lovely garden. This is the agricultural farm garden of Mr. Krishnan, his wife, where beautiful things are grown. This is almost like organic farming right near Delhi, Mr. Krishnan.
This is, unfortunately, this year, as you know, there have been so many rains.
Yes.
So all our crops are late.
Okay.
So if we had, the rains had ended earlier,
yes,
we would have had enough vegetables to send each one of you a big bag home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you growing here, if we can actually
we are
get
growing various things. We are growing onions, we are growing garlic, we are growing radish,
Lovely.
we are growing palak.
Oh,
and this is a compost pit.
Okay.
Because this is totally organic.
Okay.
We try and generate our compost here.
Okay.
Yeah. And it has worked quite well for us.
In fact, I want to tell our viewers, one of the things that Mr. Krishnan was so proud about, and I'm so humbled by it, is he said, please tell everybody that I am not a Supreme Court lawyer, but a Delhi High Court lawyer. People always pride when we say that a lawyer of the Supreme Court, but he said, I want to take pride in the fact that I belong to the Delhi High Court.
You see, that's true. I don't even go to the Supreme Court. So as a youngster, I used to at various courts, but my court is the Delhi High Court.
But coming from someone who is so seasoned a lawyer, who's fought for India on the international front, you have every right to designate yourself as someone who's an authority in extradition law, working in the Supreme Court, having known possibly more things than lawyers in the Supreme Court would, because you know the extradition law. But you continue to want, in a sense, to be with your roots at the Delhi High Court, which I found marvelous.
I'll tell you why. A, I'm very content where I am. B, that the Delhi High Court is a place where I can go in the morning. I can do a Section 9 arbitration case. I can do a suit. I can do on the days I'm briefed in these areas, I can do an IP case, I can do a writ, I can do an LPA and a criminal case all on the same day. The variety and the quality of work in the Delhi High Court is amazing. And I must say that we have been very lucky with the quality of judges. And also the system. It's an entirely computerized system.
Yes.
None of us use paper, neither does the judge nor the lawyer.
Amazing.
Yeah, you will find a very few, lawyers using a paper file. And no judge uses a paper file.
Yes.
So in many ways, maybe the camaraderie I enjoyed, I enjoy the company of my friends there. So it's a wonderful place to work, and I'm very contented where I am, you see. So
I'm going to ask the very contented Mr. Krishnan some very unpleasant questions about the judiciary, especially the Delhi High Court judiciary, but from a very pleasant spot. I want to go back to the pleasantness of the trees in his farmhouse and then ask him these questions. I go across now to some questions on Nirbhaya, because I know you were a part of that case. And Nirbhaya happened in 2012. I remember at that time it was a dark, cold night of December 16, 2012. A 23-year-old woman, how she was gang raped, beaten, tortured. Immediately, this case grabbed headlines. I remember there was almost like a rush of people angry across India, a nationwide outrage, after which court after court, the trial court gave a verdict of death to all the accused. One of them hanged himself to death. 4 of them were hanged much later in 2021. You were the public prosecutor in this case from the very start. Take us through that journey.
See, I'll tell you, when I was the additional standing counsel of the Delhi government at that time, and I used to do a lot of the police cases, the more important ones in the Delhi High Court. The Commissioner of Police was a very fine officer called Nitish Katara.
Yes, yes.
In fact, I had the privilege of working with him when he was in the CBI also. Easily one of the most meticulous and bold, very dabang officer he was.
Right.
So when this incident happened, he was commissioner, you see, and the first task of the police was to get the accused, which they did in no time. I was actually away in Coimbatore because my dad had a procedure. And he was in the hospital, and I was with him, and my mom and sister were all there. When I got a call from Mr. Nitish Katara and to say that the governor wants you to come back because they wanted to entrust this case to you. So I rushed back. And when I saw the medical report, it would make anyone cry.
Yes.
It was the most heinous report you would have ever seen. So then we started the preparation. It was one of the rare occasions where the Commissioner of Police, the Special Prosecutor, the investigators who was Chaya Sharma, Chaya was a very fine officer, and Mr. Rajinder Singh, who was the Chief Investigator, he is retired now, but one of the finest officers I worked with. We sat together and prepared these charge sheets, which came, as you know, in a record time of 10 days.
Yes.
With the entire focus on forensic and scientific evidence. Because in my mind, and as well as Mr. Nitish Kumar's support I had at that time, to say that the more you focus on forensic evidence, the better our case will be. Because to be honest, and I probably never interact with the press on these kind of cases, but I was not happy with my eyewitness at all. Because I felt he was only a partial eyewitness. Yes. And that was my submission to the court at the end also, that I am relying more on scientific evidence to prove the case. And we did a day-to-day trial. There was, of course, the usual delays in that case, but finally we got the verdict we wanted.
So there was a lot of speculation at that time that there was an iron rod they were drunk, they put inside her body.
Yes.
And that was one of the main things that was said.
Yes.
And the most brutal of them, Mr. Krishnan, was the juvenile who got away after a 3-year sentence. What do you say about the law for juveniles?
Honestly, I don't think that is factually correct.
Okay.
I think in my assessment, the most brutal was Ram Singh.
Okay.
And he got away by taking his own life.
Yes. Yes.
My assessment of the juvenile was that he was brutal, no doubt, like all of them were, but he was not the most brutal.
Understood.
And the second thing was that when that case was happening and there was a large amount of public pressure, there was pressure on us also to say that he is not a juvenile.
Right.
But I would certainly, as a public prosecutor, not do that.
Right.
And I must say
Yes.
that the police team which was working with me, which was Mr. Rajinder Singh and the Joint Commissioner at that time, Mr. Vivek Gogia, and Mr. Neeraj Kumar as well as Chaya, all of us were clear.
Right.
Because we had studied the documents, we had gone, they had done the investigation in his school, in wherever he lived, etc.,
Yes.
that he was a juvenile.
Yes.
And if he was a juvenile, he should get the benefit
Get
of it.
benefit.
And of course, today on your second question, that the law has changed as far as juveniles, involved in a heinous case is concerned. They have
That's
to be
right.
treated as adults. I'm not too sure how right that is, because the mental state of a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old, even an 18 or 19-year-old is not the same as someone who's over 20. So I'm not, these things sound good for the public that, okay, the juveniles will be tried as this thing, but whether that is correct, whether it, you need to have differential standards, whether you need to have differential sentences, is a matter I feel Parliament should debate a little more.
But I want to ask you, there have been VVIP cases in Pune. There have been
Yes,
VVIP
yes,
cases of
yes,
those,
yes.
people are, there are these
Yeah.
children,
Yeah.
rich, powerful VVIPs who are ramming their cars, BMWs and other cars, into Porsches, into innocent people who are walking, engineers or whatever, kids.
Yeah.
And they get away from the JJB board with a written sentence, write a paragraph or
Correct,
something.
correct.
How right is that?
That is wrong, I agree. Maybe a graded sentence may be a better idea. But something fundamental which I heard when I entered the great portals of my senior's chamber. And we were doing this case about a police officer who was, in a caught in a human rights case. I remember that case very well. And as a young kid just come out of college, I said, boss, this kind of sentence is not enough for him.
Yes.
So he told me, bad facts make bad law.
Right.
So when we are looking at a legal policy, I think
Yes.
we have to be careful to look at everything. The area of juvenile sentence, trial, etc. is very worrisome. Of course, recently the Supreme Court has said that the National Commission for Child Rights should lay down guidelines on assessments, etc., which they have done. And let us see how those guidelines work. Yeah.
Okay, then the Nitish Katara case, honor killing. You were an important part of
Yes.
the appeal. Once they got a sentence from the Delhi High Court, they moved to Supreme Court. Neelam Katara, their mother, specifically asked for you to be appearing in the case. You then were there as a part of the appeal. What were those thoughts like? Because he was so brutally murdered in this honor killing case.
Let me tell you, this has been my most difficult case in life.
Okay.
See, when I got the case file and you had seen the evidence, almost every witness was hostile.
Yes.
And Mr. B.S. June was the prosecutor who conducted it in the trial court, had done a very good job of declaring them hostile and cross-examining them. But it was still a very tough case where almost every witness is hostile,
Right.
except the last seen witness.
Right.
So it was hard fought, and I was then again a government lawyer, and I was opposed by Mr. Ram Jethmalani and Mr. Lalit, the Chief Justice Lalit's father,
Yes.
who was one of the legends, which, and opposing them was tough. But and the matter went on day to day for an entire year.
My God.
It was before a bench of Justice Geeta Mittal and Justice Midda,
Right.
And if you see their judgment, it's a beautiful judgment on various aspects of the law of evidence.
Right.
And particularly if you see Justice Midda's judgment on compensation, on what is the nature of compensation for victims, is an absolute masterpiece. So that, I'm glad we got where we were in that case. And because it was super tough. And I must tell you a very interesting incident. When I looked at the medical report, the post-mortem,
Yes.
it looked completely fixed.
I think in many ways it was.
It was, probably. And I was finding no headway to get anywhere. Then I had a very good friend of mine, who is now, of course, a lawyer for the CBI, but those days was basically a hard trial practitioner, Mr. Anupam Sharma.
Right.
Anupam is, I would regard, Delhi's expert on postmortems.
Right.
So I requested him, I said, Anupam, I'm stuck. Can you help me?
Right.
And he came out with at least 5 or 6 points on that postmortem, which helped me take it through.
Okay.
And I personally as a lawyer, I'm never hesitant to ask for help.
Okay.
Because if you think you know it all, you will never get where you have to. And this is something the junior bar should realize.
Yes.
There is no harm in asking anyone you know
Yes.
and learn from him. So I spent 2 days with Anupam Sharma, who gave me various textbooks which had gone out of print, prepared us, and I was able to crack it. So that was a very tough case, and what a battle fought by Mrs. Katara. Hats off to her. But for her, battle, and we were up against
The mightiest might.
yeah, at that time. Of course, I think they've all lost relevance now, but at that time they were very powerful people.
Yes, of course.
So
To get away with that is was something they were planning to do, and the people in power was not holding anyone accountable. I want to now draw attention to other cases that you've done, but from a different view in Mr. Krishnan's farmhouse. Sir, Tahawwur Rana, Pakistani-born Canadian, brought back to India, mastermind of 2611 as we're calling him, all because of the efforts that you put in. You stormed in the United States, every court. Tell us about the struggles that you started off there with.
see, I'll tell you, we have been trying to extradite Rana from 2010. There have been a lot of ups and downs between us and the Department of Justice, which is the controlling body who deals with all this in the US. At least on 3 rounds of negotiations earlier, they refused to even look at my, my request. And in between, they raised the issue of double jeopardy when I told them that, it just doesn't apply. And I made a very detailed opinion. My then junior Manvi Priya was with me, and I decided, okay, let's give them an entire analysis of Indian law. And we prepared almost 3 days. We took off from court and prepared this. This was, I think, in 2013 or 2014. But, things were, I think the Americans were unnecessarily resisting at that time. And diplomatically also, I felt India was not that powerful as it probably is today. In 2018, many things changed. First, the NIA IG at that time, Mr. Singh, who is now the DG CRPF, the brilliant officer, and his deputy Sanjukta Parasar started working very closely with me to try and get a breakthrough.
Right.
We invited the American team here, which was led by Mr. Mark Teletoki, who I have a great regard for, and I believe is one of the reasons why Rana is back. Mr. Teletoki was the equivalent of a JAG. He was in the US Army, and then joined he was the head of the overseas department of the Department of Justice. And when he finally accepted my opinion to say that yes, it is worth extraditing this man. And then both Sanjukta and I went to the US. We sat there and prepared the extradition request in a manner which they believed would be presentable to a US court. Then the process started.
This was in which year?
This was 2018. So 2018, the US government accepted that they would file in the extradition request. And it was important because Rana was finishing his sentence there.
Right.
And he could have gotten away.
Right.
And if he had been released, he would have just disappeared in thin air. Then what happened was that the first levels of extradition started. He fought us hard there. But our teams were also very good. There was a brilliant lawyer of the Department of Justice, Kerry Monaco, who was with me throughout this journey. Right. Mr. Teletoki, of course, retired, and he was replaced by other leaders of that department. But what I really liked about the Department of Justice colleagues who worked with us was that they were equally committed as I was to bring this man back. He, of course, I was the expert evidence which India led, and he brought a barrister from the UK. Fortunately for us that we read our papers, and the poor barrister probably didn't, because his opinion was based basically on dissenting judgments.
Oh gosh.
And of course on treaty interpretation, which I had my own version and he had his own version, and I had the great benefit of one of my juniors, who is now of course an independent lawyer, Sanjeevi Sheshadri, who is absolutely outstanding in the area of international law.
Right.
Yeah. So with his help, we prepared what I believe was a waterproof case on the issue of the treaty interpretation, because everything, in an extradition, apart from this, the issue of double jeopardy, which was central to this, was on the interpretation of the Indo-US Treaty and two particular clauses of the Indo-US Treaty. I was happy that the trial court, which is the most important court there, accepted our point of view, and later the courts above all accepted our point of view. And as you know, the most important thing in those courts is paperwork.
Yes.
Oral advocacy is 4 or 5 minutes,
Yes.
which is basically done by the DOJ's counsel, but the entire written advocacy was basically prepared by us with the help with, of course, the DOJ, who dealt with American legal positions which governed it. But it was a great experience working with the Americans on the legal side. And as you know, when the extradition is accepted by courts, it is still a political issue. The Secretary of State has to certify it.
Yes.
But there was a tremendous diplomatic push by the government of India at that time, which really helped us get him back quick.
So you think it was galvanized diplomatically as well?
Yes, absolutely. I know it was.
Yes.
And I was very happy about that, because diplomatically the push was great. Legally, of course, we won it at every level, and that expedited his return.
Because it was his extradition ordered by the US court in 2023 May.
Yes.
But he continued to appeal.
Yes.
And the appeals also were in the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals, the US Supreme Court. Did you also have to give arguments or paperwork
Everywhere.
there? Okay.
Everywhere.
Okay.
We had to give. And even to the Secretary of State, because he came out with absolutely bogus arguments. And I do not know how, without verification, a lawyer would put those kind of arguments saying, which included that a person of a particular community will not get a lawyer in India.
Gosh.
So there, of course, it is wrong. You see, our legal aid system is not, community-based, person-based, religion-based. And also, I gave my opinion on that basis the Supreme Court in Kasab, who had given some very senior lawyers. Mr. Raju Ramchandran was representing him as a legal aid lawyer.
Right.
So I said the man will be entitled to complete legal defense. And these statements and opinions are false. See, you can make statements which are, based on law or based on factual situations.
But I want to ask you, and I want our viewers to understand what you're saying. You've made it sound, it sounds very simple. 2018, we went there, did the paperwork. But this is so critical, because 26/11/2010, this happens. And to have the paperwork so meticulously prepared that you're winning in US courts in 3 to 4 different courts is in itself a big feat.
See, there is a lot of work which goes behind it. There is a lot of investigative work. And I've had great officers working with me on this case, starting, of course, as I told you, with Mr. Swayam Prakash Pani and Mr. Sanjeev Singh, who unfortunately passed away, and Mr. Loknath Behra. 3 of these officers worked from day one on this. So our, paperwork was very good. Then came, after a long gap, Sanjukta Parasar, and Mr. Singh, GP Singh, of course, at a senior level, who also ensured that all paperwork was up to date.
Yes.
And later, when we were coming to the final push, I had the assistance of Mr. Ashish Batra, who was the IG there, who also is a very meticulous officer, you see. So it's always useful when you are meticulous in your work that the officers support you with that.
Can you give us examples of what was there in the investigation that helped us, which they were able to help you with?
See, that is now a matter of this trial.
Okay.
So I would like not to talk about it, because I don't want to talk about a pending case.
Right, I understand that. But I want to also tell our viewers that now Mr. Krishnan is leading the charge on him, the 26/11 plotter, in Indian courts to try and bring him to book here. But this is also something that I saw the press releases coming out from India at that time when they said that they were very disappointed when certain US courts had rejected the appeals that were given out by us, because they said that we have already given evidence to them to show that he had helped Headley get visas and other people get visas into India.
No, but we are not lost in any US court. At all.
They were disappointed possibly with the process, possibly
Probably
at one
the delay
time.
or whatever, but
Yes.
even then, going by extraditions and my experience in extraditions in other countries,
Right.
particularly the UK,
Yes.
where I've done cases for the government of India, that the American system was far better and really, helped us speed up. Now, as far as the trial in India is concerned, yes, the government has set up a team.
Yes.
It is supervised and headed by the Solicitor General of India,
Yes.
and I am in the team. And the NI has also allowed me to have a trial team which will assist me.
Yes.
Which is, so under this, in the overall team, I will certainly work towards this.
He was a former military doctor. He was extradited. He was ferried back in that chartered flight. We all saw how he came back. In the interactions that you had with Tahawwur Rana, what was his body language?
I have never had interactions with him.
Okay.
Never. Because we only fought him at every level. The first time I saw him was in the Special Judges Court here.
Okay.
And to be honest, I did not want to have interactions with him. He asked me, "Are you Dayan Krishnan?" I said yes. And that was it. I did not want to engage with him further.
Was he speaking to people around him?
Must be. To the investigators, yes. And later, of course, he's been interrogated in great detail.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
but,
has. He's also being taken to Mumbai for the
Yes,
interrogation?
yes, of course.
Yes.
So they're obviously in the middle of all that. Yeah.
So this case, how do you look at it proceeding? Because there are 10 charges that we have put against him, serious charges.
See, it is now in further investigation, and I am not really authorized to talk about it.
But you've been a part of I don't want to talk about the Tahawwur Rana case. I understand you're looking at it from India's point of view. But from a person who's been at it from the very start, being the NI's public prosecutor, 2010 to today, 2011 I would say to today, how meticulous do you need to be, and what is the evidence that is startling for you to see 166 people died, several were injured, police officers were killed. They tried to harm the very financial capital of India and hold India to ransom.
Of course, they actually managed to do it for a bit. So it is easily India's worst terrorist attack. And therefore, I believe that these efforts are, the efforts that the Bombay police have done, the Bombay prosecutors have done, the NIA is doing, are all critical for the overall destruction of the terror infrastructure, which is absolutely required.
You did say at that time that the political dispensation at that time was such that in 2013, 2012, we were not able to get the same kind of look.
See, I'm not on political dispensation because I am not a political lawyer.
Yes.
And therefore, I'm always worried about making these statements because, in whatever dispensation, I may appear for politicians, I may appear for government, but I have absolutely no politics in my blood.
Yes.
But the point is that yes, India has over the years become more diplomatically powerful. And I have seen that in this case. Yes. Even in 2016, we were not that powerful. 2013, we were not that powerful. But I've realized in the last push of our extradition, particularly in 2020 onwards, I have felt that India's diplomatic, presence is recognized much more. Maybe we've also grown as a country and has been recognized much more as far as the US government is concerned, at least.
Yeah, I was talking about this, that India has put out a statement at that time that the evidence was produced before US court that David Headley had advised Rana to scout potential targets in India, that Headley obtained Rana's consent to open an office of First World Immigration Services as a cover for his activities. Rana advised Headley on how to obtain a visa for travel to India. This is what the government had told the US in a press release. And Headley and Rana had reviewed how Headley had done surveillance of the targets that were attacked in Mumbai. Evidence was produced by India that Rana told Headley the terrorists involved in Mumbai's attack should receive Pakistan's highest military honors posthumously.
See, let me tell you something. There are two parts to this. One is the extradition, where we had given what we call a case to offer, or a prima facie case, where all this was there. Today, the same thing will be matter of a trial.
Yes.
And being the special public prosecutor, it's not correct for me to speak about it.
I respect
what
that, sir.
What happens is that either public perception or judicial perception should not affect the rights of an accused. He may be a terrorist, he may be whatever, so I have to safeguard that because it's one of the duties which is entrusted to a public prosecutor.
Yes. David Coleman Headley, 10 days Chicago. Tell us a little bit about how he was when you tried to interact with...
See, I'll tell you what. I want to start for 1 month before Chicago, maybe 6 months before Chicago. Mr. Sharat Sinha was the Director General of the NIA, a very fine officer, and I had great privilege of working with him both when he was in the CBI as well as here. He had put together this team of the officers, Mr. Behra, Mr. Sanjeev Singh, who were the very senior officers then. There was Swayam Prakash Pani, there was one Mr. Shapu, and I was the prosecutor. We worked meticulously on the case, preparing our questions, which went to several rounds of refinement. So by the time we went to the US, we were very, very well prepared for the interrogation. And even there was some issue because the then Attorney General of Chicago again stalled it for a bit, whatever, but the then government did manage to put enough pressure on the United States to allow us access. Right. So 10 days with him was a very different experience. You see, I'm a lawyer. I'm not used to sitting with an accused. It was my first experience to sit with an accused. Because every question there required to be put in front of the prosecutor as well as the FBI prosecutor as well as the Indian prosecutor, that was me. So, 10 days, yes, we asked him various things. We got a lot of material, which has been the matter of further investigation. Our investigators who asked the questions, both Mr. Behra and Swayam, were absolutely brilliant. And the only takeaway I have from that, which I probably have said it before to you, is there was no remorse at all. And that troubled me a lot. But then the more and more I learnt about, you see, of terrorism, I realized it. And I'll tell you a very interesting story. So when this man was all bluster with us, and now it is over, you see, I can talk about it because we are not going to be able to extradite him. Rana has come. Yes. There's a beautiful book on Frontier Gandhi by Rajmohan Gandhi, where he writes that the only time that the Fatah area, the tribal area belt of Pakistan, was peaceful when Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan ruled. His party ruled. Why? Because he used Gandhian means. So I confronted him with that book. The FBI, of course, said, we want to read the book, we want to do. I said, please read, but give it to him. Now, my point which I was making to this man was that your means of terror will never bring peace to your region. The only way by which a region can get peace is to apply peaceful Gandhian methods. Yes, that was my way of venting to tell him that, your state of mind is the most wrong state of mind that anybody can have. Yes. Not that it would have made any difference to him, but...
Was he even answering the questions properly?
Yes. Our investigators were very good. Right. They knew how to get it out of him. Of course, he was not volunteering it, but we were getting it out.
So, was he giving information about the places he visited?
Everything. He has given us a lot of information, which again will be subject matter of this trial.
Okay, so you can't
speak about it, but yes, it was a very, very productive 10 days.
He was a player also. We also had, ex-Home Secretary G.K. Pillai speak about it. At that time, where he said that Tahawwur was just a small player, he had no role in the carnage, and a lot of things were said about how the ex-Home Secretary had spoken, how the US had acted in bad faith, knowing about David Coleman Headley, Rana's school friend, main conspirator, and there were anti-India activities that were being carried out by him. How do you look at, of course, I'm not talking about politics, but these statements that were being made by Indians at that time that were also being looked at by the international media?
I think they should be very careful in making statements. That's why, as a lawyer, I never make statements about a pending case.
Yes, I agree with
You
that.
see, because it may not even be correct.
Yes.
Like this statement is wrong.
Yes.
Whatever you read.
Yes.
I can't verify it myself, but it's a wrong statement.
That's right.
Because he was a very important part of this conspiracy. So I don't know where he got it from. But therefore, I feel in a pending case, maybe the bureaucracy as well as lawyers should be very careful in speaking to the press.
Mr. Krishnan, 5 LET training camps in Pakistan. David Coleman Headley attended them 2002 to 2005. He was also given surveillance. Commanders treated him 5 times leading up to Mumbai attacks. This is the US Department of Justice that you dealt with. Arrested in 2009, serving a 35-year sentence, but he detailed insights into LET's operations in Pakistan's role. On a world stage, when there is so much evidence against the LET in Pakistan, why is a body like the United Nations not able to really condemn them openly?
See, LET as well as several of their main troops, especially Hafiz, etc., are designated terrorists.
Yes, but we saw Hafiz Saeed a few days ago
but that's
outside
irrelevant.
on the streets in Pakistan.
In this case, we got an RCN issued against him. But how does it make a difference to him? You see, he is in a country which openly supports terrorism and openly supports him. So, whether the UN should do more or less, I'm not even, having dealt with a lot of extraditions, I'm not even too sure about the relevance of the UN anymore.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Neither am I actually.
Yeah, so, I rather feel that countries which have faced terrorism, like the United States, should do much more to quell these countries, to put them in their place, and to ensure the terror infrastructure is destroyed. Because, you see, that is our greatest danger. So, the terror infrastructure in various neighboring countries is merely bringing a Tahawwur Rana back is, of course, a big step, in my view. It's something which disillusions them. But much more will have to be done, which I'm sure the government is doing.
Before I move on to other questions, what was that final moment like when he was ferried back? He was on a chartered flight when you got that news?
Oh, it was very good because Mr. Batra, as I told you, and was in touch with me late into the night, and when it finally happened, and I must tell you a very interesting story, that, the present Director General of the NIA, Mr. Date, an officer I have great respect and regard for, was one who took bullets in 2611. Right? And Mr. Rakesh Agarwal, who is his deputy, worked very closely with me in my entire journey of extradition. So it was actually a big moment for all of us, for the people prior who had investigated, starting from Mr. Pani to Sanjukta to Mr. Batra to Dr. Roy, who is the investigating officer now, a very fine officer, Prabhat, who has been there right from the beginning. So for this entire team, it was like a dream come true. Of course, we have a lot of work ahead, but a battle which we thought from 2010 we had lost somewhere in between and was revived. It was a big moment for us because I personally never wanted to give up. And there have been moments that I think the investigating agency felt this is not going to happen. But there was a lot of support and we finally did it.
Yes, I completely agree. I want to ask you about the UK extraditions also. There is so much happening. You mentioned about how at one time they wanted to say that in India, communities are not getting enough representation. Similar arguments have been made, ridiculous ones, in the Mehul Choksi case that I was recently seeing, that the Indian courts are going to be partial and not give him a proper are not going to give him a proper verdict. Then there are other arguments about our jail conditions, whether it's the Vijay Mallya case, whether it's Mehul Choksi, Nirav Modi. How is the UK courts going to ever help us get these people out?
See, I'll tell you, I've had very unhappy experiences in the UK. One was the extradition of Ravi Shankaran, which I did for the government, which I believed on a totally wrong legal premise. After winning in the district court, we won it in the extradition court. The High Court set it aside on a legal premise that an Indian court cannot recognize a statement, which is our 161 statement, because it is not made on oath. Right. The Indian legal position is an investigating agency will record it under 164, old 164, BNS has changed the nomenclature now, the section number. Is done only when you don't trust a witness.
Okay.
And this was the basis. Otherwise, it was the trial court's judgment was clinching. And I worked very closely with a great extradition lawyer, Mr. John Hardy, and Mr. Ben Brandon. And in fact, my whole extradition journey started from there. Then I'll tell you in a moment how that did. And that was very disappointing for us. And I personally believe it's totally wrong. The second, which is a more, a very sad case, and I feel very, very bad about it when I think about it. There was a pedophile called Varley who used to go to orphanages in Goa, a particular orphanage in Goa, to abuse children. Now, there were three of them. There was a German, there was a French national, and Varley. Germany and France, because of their statute, said no extradition at all if they are citizens. That we'll prosecute them, which they never did. Wow. Yes. And it is a sad tale of young orphans being abused. God. We went several times to the UK and worked very closely with the Crown Prosecution on this, who did a great job, I must say. All evidence had closed in. That trial judge could not have held that Varley could not have been extradited. He then threw a thing at us to say, government, show me that your jail conditions are fine. I faced some resistance from the government, but I said, please allow an inspection. Sir Ian, who was a former Director General Prisons in the UK, was sent as the inspector. I was not sure what will happen. This was a jail in Goa.
Okay.
His report, to my great satisfaction, was an Indian jail was fine. And I'm sure that report is somewhere in the archives with the CBI, which the government should use in other extraditions.
They should use exactly what I was thinking.
And you know what his basis was? His basis was that, the entire approach to jail condition is to see the attitude of the jailer to the prisoner. And he said the attitude of the jailer to the prisoner is far better than the ones in the UK.
Extradition law, Abu Salim's case, we saw he was brought back from Portugal under a treaty. I have looked at the Abu Salim case several times in the lower court. He has been there. I have personally, interacted with him, and his lawyers are always saying he should not be given the death penalty. He should not be. Was this something that was a mistake on part of India, that we tried to put sections that were not there under the Portuguese and Indian treaty?
I'll tell you, in the Abu Salim case, we messed up. Not bringing him here. He did come here, and of course it was Portugal, so it was easier to extradite. It's not UK. You see, in the law of extradition, there is a speciality requirement. That is, when a person is extradited, he is extradited with conditions that he can be tried for A, B, C, D.
But not the death penalty.
No. I'm coming to death penalty.
Right.
In Abu Salem, they wanted to add sections which was not part of the speciality, which is totally violative of an extradition and the Committee of Nations. It should not have been done. Right. It went to the Supreme Court first. Supreme Court upheld the CBI's view. Then they had to run back to the Supreme Court and say the Supreme Court was wrong. Yes. I felt that whole Abu Salem exercise put India also in a poor light. Yes. Right? Now, coming to the death penalty, please note that keeping in mind that extraditions were not coming because of the death penalty, Parliament added a section which said that if the country extraditing does not have the death penalty, like Portugal doesn't have the death penalty, he will not get the death penalty here. So that is not an error. Okay. That is something which is part of the law. But to try and amend a speciality certificate and try and do something contrary to that is totally unacceptable as far as extraditions are concerned. Which is actually what happened in Abu Salem. So you have Abu Salem 1, Abu Salem 2, and this whole mess which went around that.
We move from this to lighter subjects. I want to ask you about your other passions. We'll move to another place in the wonderful farm area of Mr. Krishnan. We're in another part of the farmhouse of Mr. Krishnan, which is lovely. I think there's a lot of Moroccan impact and effect we can see here, Mr. Krishnan. I want to ask you about you being an all-rounder. There are several people who speak about your meticulous preparation, almost bordering on the obsessive. You've said you're very rarely aggressive. There's no drama when you're making arguments. What is your advice to young law students and young lawyers?
See, first of all, you're right. I'm an all-rounder. I'm not part of any particular area of law. I do enjoy criminal law. I do enjoy commercial law. I do enjoy various things. But I like to do different things. And I feel, of course, there are various colleagues of mine who have different views on this, but I feel a young lawyer should do everything. So when you become an old lawyer like me, you continue to do everything and you'll enjoy yourself thoroughly about it.
Coming to the Delhi High Court, there is so much bad reputation they have got right now because of the unfortunate Justice Yashwant Verma impeachment that is now happening. How should this case have been proceeded with?
See, firstly, I'll tell you, I really enjoyed appearing before Yashwant Verma. I thought he was a brilliant judge. He was a very meticulous judge. He heard us in cases. He passed judgments very quickly, very quick in the uptake, very polite. Appearing before him was a joy. And in fact, sometimes I used to draw parallels with, according to me, my most favorite judge ever in my career, which is Justice Badr Durraiz Ahmed. The greatest of the judges, the way he conducted his court, the way he dealt with people. I always say that, if every judge should emulate Justice Ahmed and to try and be like him. So I used to think that Yashwant Verma was like Badr Durraiz, the way he conducted his court and things. When this incident happened, I was shocked. Well, there is a presumption of innocence, and I do hope that Verma is innocent.
He's going to be impeached.
Well, what I felt was, the moment that an incident of this happened, there should have been an FIR registered. It is only with police investigation that you could have found the truth.
Yes.
If it is the accused's defense that, it was planted, who planted it? If not, what was the source of that money? Who did this money belong to? That's now only rumors. I do not understand this whole concept that, because of the nature of their position, that the Chief Justice has to give permission. Maybe so. Maybe to prevent, misuse. But in this case, the Chief Justice should have immediately given permission. And it should have been entrusted to a specialized agency like the CBI. Because otherwise it's all speculation. And unfortunately, if the truth comes against Verma, the Delhi High Court bar will feel very betrayed. Because we really liked him as a judge.
I want to now ask you, what do you do outside the court that makes you light up? And I also want to ask you about your better half, your wife. Is she also a lawyer? How is she taking your law, the lots of time that you spent in this profession?
See, well, I do have what they call a work-life balance.
Okay.
Most people say lawyers don't have, but I have. My wife used to practice, and then she went into academics, and she was teaching in the campus law center. Now she is taking
my
a break.
alma mater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now she's, of course, on a break. Then she, of course, is, I believe, my guiding force. It is easy when you are self-made, and when you start doing well, to get arrogant, to get, haughty, to think that you have achieved all this on your own. She keeps me in my place. And she has spent a lot of time ensuring our young son, who is now in university, is also very grounded.
And what does he do?
He is reading anthropology and archaeology in Oxford. Okay. And I'm very happy to know, just like I enjoyed playing football in my youth, he is a very good footballer. He is also playing for the University Colts team, which is the junior team of the University of Oxford. So, and throughout my life, I have shut office by 7:30, so that I could get back in time before my son, when he was small, went to sleep. Okay. You see? And I never work on a Sunday at all. Right? Even in these days of VC, today is a Saturday, I would start my VCs later in the evening or get back to office to do my conferences, but I do not work on Sundays. Sunday was dedicated to my family, dedicated to my wife and son. And
what time do you begin your day, sir?
My day actually begins pretty early. Depending on how many cases I have, I would either wake up at 4:30 or 5.
Oh, that's really early.
Yeah, I'm a very early bird. So that's the time I read my files myself.
Okay, my God.
And I have a very good set of juniors, and we've been blessed all my life to have very good juniors. And they would send me my notes, etc. now by email, by whatever time they poor chaps go to sleep. And I wake up, depending on if I have a heavy day, 4:30, otherwise normally at 5. Right. And I would then prepare for my cases, and then I would do some yoga. I then get ready and do some prayers, because I'm fairly spiritual, and I don't call myself religious. And and then get to work, which is my usual day. I come back. Near my office, I generally go to the gym for about 30 minutes to get myself off the day, and then do my conferences, but shut by 7:30, which is what I'd like to do.
Well, I think this is the work-life balance you're talking about. Do you also get time to travel? Do you take your holidays?
We travel a lot.
Lovely.
I'll give you an example. This year, we first went, now of course my son is in college, so we are what they call empty nesters, so we travel more.
Nice.
So we first went, we travel a lot, but this year, for example, we first went to Mount Etna. It's an active volcano. My wife and I climbed it up. And we, of course, in the beautiful town of Catania, which is at the base of Mount Etna. Then in the summer, we did the whole romantic route in Germany. We've done it before, but we did it very carefully this time, choosing places. And just now, I took a few days off from court, and we drove the length and breadth of Romania.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, which I found a fascinating country. Okay. Totally different. And well, the year is not over. Maybe we'll go somewhere else.
Yes. What is on your bucket list?
Well, travel-wise, in my bucket list is various continents I haven't visited. Africa for one. I've been to Northern Africa, but the heart of Africa, the safaris, etc., which I have not done. I want to go to South America and things. But otherwise, my bucket list is fairly simple. I want to, continue to work hard, continue to work in my wonderful High Court. And, my father had a very good friend called Colonel Usman. He was an ex-army officer. So when I was going to university, etc., I met Usman uncle somewhere, and he said, son, what's up now? I was going to university and all. So he said, Dayan, I'll give you one advice. You must die with your boots on. Oh. Yeah, he said, never stop working. So I always have Colonel Usman in mind. So that's my bucket list. I want to remain healthy, my family remains healthy, and I want to work.
I'm sure you will with all the meticulous work that you have. I also want to ask you, what passions do you have other than law?
Well, I love a lot of music. I listen to music. I don't play music or anything. And most of my music comes from my OT days, So they are different genres of music. And I told you my sister had a lot of influence in that. That's why my son now shares a lot of my music with me, so we keep sharing music with each other.
How nice.
And I used to, my early days, do a lot of photography, but not very scientifically. So now, recently I have enrolled in a course of photography with this very wonderful teacher, Mr. Siddharth Mudaliar. He's in Bangalore and he does it online course with me. He's one of India's best, photographers, at least one of Bangalore's best. And I have really got into photography now. Okay. And I do a lot of photographs. In fact, just before you came today, I was sitting and sorting out some of my photos.
Lovely, yes.
So, and that's something I love. I read. I'm not a voracious reader. But I read slowly. But like I was telling you about Eli Shafak, many of her books I love. I'm now in the middle of the new Dan Brown, which I quite enjoy.
Yes, I like Dan Brown.
Yeah,
He's
I love
lovely.
him. Yeah, I love him. I absolutely love him. And these are my passions, and I love spending time with my family. Yes. I like to go back and see my mom as far as she lives in Ooty, because in spite of my best efforts to get her here, I don't blame her. She wants to live there. So at least once in 2 or 3 months, I like to go back and see her. And that's it. I think it's basically family, and we have a very close family. I'm very close to my wife's sister and her husband and their daughter as well. And we love traveling. I have a very close circle of friends. Right. Small but very close. Some from the NLS days, like Mr. Nikhil Nair, senior advocate, who and I started an office together when we were juniors. We bought a little premises. Today he is a senior in the Supreme Court. I am in the High Court. Yes. I have various other very close friends, and we like to come here sometimes or travel together.
I see somewhere that you possibly want to nurture the next generation, because whether it's them or young lawyers, you're very keen that the next generation should also learn that they can be self-made and they can do well.
Absolutely. The young lawyer should remember that you may not have a godfather. You may not have anyone in this profession, but you will do well if you're honest and you're hardworking. And my senior, Mr. Santosh Headley, told me something when I was very young in the profession. You see, when you are young and you join the bar, you will see some judge's son or daughter running around with so many briefs where you will be still holding your senior's brief. It's very common in our profession, nothing new. Or, somebody else who has some other kind of privilege. So, I think he noticed me seeing something like that or saying something like that. So, he told me that, remember one thing, wear blinkers. Imagine you're a horse, a racehorse in a long ride. Wear blinkers. Don't look left and right. Don't look at your own friends and classmates, how well they are doing. Look at life in a 20-year segment. And that is a very interesting story. So I actually thought, what is boss saying? 20 years. Imagine you are 24 and your boss is telling you to think of how you will be at 44 or 45. So, but boss was boss, so I never said anything. Exactly 20 years later, I was designated as a senior by the Delhi High Court. And I called him up and I said, boss, I've become a senior. He said, how many years in the profession, son? So I told him 20. He said, didn't I tell you?
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So they have to be patient.
Yes.
They will get where they have to.
Yes.
And don't look here and there because, there are many bad examples which you see around. Do not accept those bad examples. There are other bad examples which, get wealthy very fast. There's again bad examples. You will all make enough money, much more than you need. So that's what I want the younger bar to know, that you must be honest. You will not do as well as the dishonest. Take it. Take it for granted. But you need not do as well as the dishonest. Be meticulous. Be hardworking. You will get there, no doubt, and you will be happy. See, if you are in a rat race to see you want to be the best, you want to be have the highest volume, you have to do this, then life doesn't take you where it should. I feel.
I think on that note, we're going to end the legal side of things. But I want to thank you, Mr. Krishnan, because more than just us, I think the lawyers, the other people, the youngsters are going to pick up from this. A meticulous lawyer, relentless in your pursuit of justice, and also extremely humble. It was our pleasure to have met you. Thank you for being with us this week.
So kind of you. Thank you.
See you next week on another episode of the legal side of things. Thank you for being with us.